Welcome. This is the quickest way to 5 figures a month from your Twitter account in under 5 to 10 hours a week. So who am I? My name is Sean. I'm going to show you how to do this, and the reason why is because there's a lot of advice on offers. There's a lot more advice on monetization nowadays than there was, frankly, even a year ago. But I still think not enough people are talking about how to optimize for time and money. So a little bit about me. A lot of people credit me with starting the Grow and Sell on Money Twitter movement back in 2018. And later on, I stopped focusing so much on account growth and more so on monetization, and have made guys on Twitter millions of dollars since. So my main account is Western Mastery on Twitter, which is more general content. It's not so much about audience monetization per se. For that, I have a smaller account, and it's list_multiplier. That's the one I really strongly recommend that you follow. And so maybe you've heard of me, maybe not, but here are some examples of people I've helped. So Joe Hart, we got him to 40K a month, starting from 3K a month average. Andy Strom made him 35K in 14 weeks, and he only started with 2,000 followers. Excuse me, only 2,000 followers, and he was making almost $0. I think he just had like a cheap ebook at the time before that. Devin McDermott made him 21K in a month from 3K. Chris and Brett, very recently, we made him 40K over 40K in deals closed, so about 20K cash in hand. Another 20, a little bit more than 20 actually, in expected deals from those. Closed in the first 5 weeks of work with me. Kobe Gatsby, a lot of people know him. We made 60K in a group coaching launch. So here are some receipts. This is not just me saying this. Joe Hart, Ed Lattimore saying good things. Assad, PD Mangan, worked with him a little bit for a while. Got him to quit his job. Here's more from, let's see, Brett, Chris, accountant client I worked with. He made 41K in a month. Andy, and then Kobe here on the bottom right saying some things. So if you want to read this, feel free to pause the video. If not, no problem. So anyway, so now that you've finished Create, Publish, Profit, you're in a very good situation here to monetize your accounts. So you already have a strong theme, a good bio and following. You likely have a very good idea of what you can sell, or at least a general idea. At least you probably know your value proposition, or maybe you are selling already something, which would be awesome. You have a repeatable process to keep growing your following. And I can say this because I've worked with a lot of people from CPP, and they just come into my program. They work with me, and they they just know like how to grow, and they have a very strong understanding of the fundamentals of Twitter, and it's a really good thing to see. So anyway, so whether you're selling already or not, CPP has already put you in an excellent position for the next step. So that next step for most people is monetization, and that's what I'd like to help you with today. So if you feel like you don't know shit about monetization, that's fine, all right? Don't worry. When I started, I was just like you, and I really had no idea what I was doing. I had a background in healthcare in all of my 20s, and I had to learn online marketing and audience monetization and copywriting and all that fun stuff on my own. And there really were not too many resources back then specifically about this stuff. It was more like, okay, learn copywriting, learn how to do an offer, but there weren't really that many people talking about how to monetize Twitter. There's basically nobody. So anyway, it took me a few years to really get good at this, and now it's second nature to me. And you know, this was like learning on my own how to do this stuff, not really having a mentor or anything like that. But I know for sure these days that if someone has a good idea and they're authoritative and they can actually deliver, like you're actually like, for instance, you're a fitness coach, you're in good shape, and you can actually get results for clients, or you help businesses make money somehow, or you help people in the relationships, no matter what it might be, and you can legitimately do that. I know for sure you can make money following my advice. It's just the way it works. So anyway, so what do you need to make 5 figures a month in 5 to 10 hours a week? And this is what I tell people. These are my general guidelines, all right? The best thing in most cases is going to be a high ticket one-to-many offer. Now, this is particularly for coaches. Now, if you're doing a B2B offer, you want to be a copywriter, a ghostwriter, it might be a little bit different. But if you're doing any kind of coaching offer or consulting, then this is generally the way to do it. Now, there's some exceptions. There's always different ways to do this. For most people, like I said, high ticket one to many, but for other people, you got the B2B done for you offer with somebody delivering for you. And this is, again, just if you're optimizing for time here. So in other words, maybe you handle someone's email marketing and you charge $4K a month and they're making more money than they're paying you and all that. That's perfectly fine. Just, if you're optimizing for time, just make sure you have somebody delivering for you, at least over some time, right? Excuse me. So sometimes communities can do it as well. So Joe Hart, who I said is making $40K a month, last time I checked, he just has a money-making community, and he's able to convert a lot of people because he's basically showing them how to make more money than he's getting paid. And that's a one-to-many type offer. He's not spending a lot of time in there, and he's making a steady income each month. So another exception could be an expensive one-on-one offer. So you're charging maybe $10K, right, for a one-on-one offer. If you're charging $10K, you only have to make one sale a month to make 5 figures a month, obviously. And I'm not saying you should stop there, but I'm just saying that's our starting point, right? Excuse me. So other things you'll need, and we'll talk about this in a little bit. You need an efficient content schedule. You need a lead generation system that does this on autopilot. And like I said, this is the system by the time we're done here. So the setup might take more time than 5 to 10 hours a week, but once it's set up, it's extremely time efficient. So in other words, it might take you more time to do this when you were first creating this, but once it's set up, you can be very, very efficient. So again, this is just to clarify what I mean by this. This means that you can market, deliver, and sell a high-ticket offer in 5 to 10 hours a week once you have this set up. So you can determine what you want to do with all your other time. You want to expand your business. No matter how you might do it, maybe you're running paid ads or something, or you're working on some other project, either in this business or on another one. Maybe you're spending more time creating content. Maybe you're making videos, maybe doing podcasts, whatever it might be to grow your audience and authority. Or maybe I put buy a Lambo. But what I mean by that is more so like enjoy your life, right? Excuse me. So, yeah. And there are other ways to shorten this even further. So ghostwriters, closers, people who close deals for you, a webinar, because that's like essentially a one-to-many sales call. Productizing your offer, which means creating a course out of it so you're not spending a lot of time delivering it. Setters, which are people who go out and get leads for you, and then you usually pay them like a percentage of your closed deals, or hiring coaches deliver. So there's a lot of different ways. Excuse me. There's a lot of different ways that you can essentially reduce your time investment on this whole thing. So 5 to 10 hours is supposed to be a starting. Okay, so now we're going to address mindset and misconceptions. So I don't even like per se doing mindset content, but I would be retarded as a marketer to not do it. And the reason why is because for every person that has a correct mindset or is looking at this the right way, there's usually 5 to 10 that aren't. So I do have to address this. It's very important. And what I want to say is, or at least what I want to do here is get you past the most common misconceptions. So a very common one is monetizing is hard. Another one is more of a sticking point where you're not really sure what to sell. And then a lot of people think you have to create a course, and that it really does take a while, which is why we don't do that up front, and I'll talk about that. Some people think that they'll never be able to get thousands of dollars for selling their skills, and we'll talk about that as well. Some people don't know if they're going to actually get results, and that's scary to even consider charging thousands of dollars. And a lot of people think it just takes way too much time, period, and obviously it doesn't if we're talking about how to do this in 5 to 10 hours a week, but I'll talk about how. So anyway, after I address these misconceptions, I'll go into what this looks like when it's set up properly. All right, so monetizing is hard. This is a common misconception. Now, a lot of people that work with me initially thought that monetizing is hard, or they were just confused how to do it. But the game is really about building up your expertise in the eyes of your audience, and then you make the offer to them. And we'll talk more about the offer in a little bit. I like to use Jack Peach as an example because he never sold anything for more than a few $100 in his life. And before he even talked to me, the most he was selling was like a $7 ebook or something. So what we had to do was change that. Excuse me, and we had to change it into a coaching program. So he made 10K a month. I think he actually made slightly less the first month, but he started averaging 10K a month within just a few months. So he came very close to 10K a month the very first month, and then started averaging that shortly after. And the key was we turned this into a group, it was actually a one-on-one coaching offer at the time. And he actually held the record for fastest client of mine to quit his job. He was so confident in his earnings that he quit within 3 weeks, which is pretty freaking awesome. And on the bottom right here, you can see where he's talking about his earnings, and he's basically saying that he made 120K after a year. So that averages out as 10K a month. So anyway, another thing is I'm not sure what service to sell or what type of offer to make it. What type of offer to make for it. So people aren't sure what to sell at first, and that's what I want to at least help you narrow down. So as long as you at least know what your value proposition is, which hopefully I'm pretty confident you learned that in CPP, or you have a strong idea of who you're going to help, then the offer structure is just kind of based on what makes the most sense for your goals, which, if you're watching this, hopefully it's to make something time efficient and money efficient. In other words, making as much money as possible for as little time as possible. So anyway, 2 keys to this. 1 is get known for your expertise. 2 is come up with the offer that will best help your audience. And we'll talk about a list of different offer types you can get to soon. Now, some people think you have to create a course first, and that shit takes forever, as it says here. I see this less as a misconception now. When I first started doing this 4 or 5 years ago, people were really they all had a fetish for courses for whatever reason, and it's like nobody ever heard of a coaching program before. So what I say is this: I do not. Well, first of all, if you're going the quote unquote expert business route, which is basically being a consultant or a coach, then don't make a course first. All right. There are some exceptions, but I just don't really recommend it. So I tell people make a coaching program first, and then you can make out your course if you want. So, when you actually make a coaching program, you end up making the the course portion of it as you essentially teach your clients. Because, for instance, you got a fitness program. You're not going to keep teaching people how to do the same exercises or the same, how to count their calories or the food or whatever you might do. You're not going to keep explaining that to every single person, right, individually. Or even as a group, it doesn't even make sense. You might as well just give them the lessons, and then what you want to do from there is personalize from there. So, long story short, you don't create a course at first, but what you can do is essentially turn all of your coaching into those lessons, and then if you want, you can make that a standalone course later. Another part about courses, actually, we'll go back real quick, is one problem is some people create courses and it takes them months to do it, and then they end up wasting a lot of time because their course flops. So you don't want to do that. With a coaching offer, what you can do is you can get paid thousands of dollars without even creating a product, and then you can basically see if it's actually going to sell, and then from there you can start creating your course if it makes sense. Okay, so hopefully you learn from that, because that's a really big deal, and a lot of people for a while, and I still see people screwing that up, but anyway, hopefully you can see why you wouldn't want to do that. So anyway, thousands of dollars for high ticket offers, a lot of money. Why would anybody pay me that? So this is common as well. A lot of people think they can't get thousands of dollars for what they do, and I mean, I've worked with people in all sorts of different niches, and we've been able to get virtually every single one of them sales for thousands of dollars. And it's simply because people will pay an expert for help at solving a major problem. And, not everybody has thousands of dollars to spend, but we go for the people that do. If someone has $0 in their bank account, they're probably not going to pay you thousands of dollars. But if they have $100,000 in their bank account, then they'll very likely pay you maybe $5K to help them get better with women, like Jack, right? So we have to find out who has the problem and who has the money before we spend time actually trying to close them. And once we find out who those people are, if you got thousands of followers, I promise you there are people following you like that. With thousands of followers, come on. So we just have to find them and talk to them. So anyway, again, Jack, first off, when he first started, he was only selling an ebook, and then he was charging $99 an hour for consulting, and then we started just selling an offer based solely on the problem of finding a woman who is wife material, right? And we base the entire offer on just that. So just convincing them of that one thing, that if they follow his system that he's going to train them to use, then they can find a good woman, essentially, in their lives to marry, right? So if people believe that and they have the money, they will very likely pay you thousands of dollars to do that. And it's just, same amount of effort basically, but get paid way more money. So anyway, so this leads to the next part, and some people think that then it doesn't really matter what you're selling. Some people think that they really have no idea if they can actually get people results, and they think that maybe they'll demand a refund or something like that. So I've known a lot of people with this issue, and sometimes this imposter syndrome is a very common thing. Sometimes it's inexperience that would lead someone to believe this, or maybe it's both. Now, what I do is I tell people this. Excuse me. So I tell people, get results for cheap or free first, and do that in exchange for ideally video testimonials. So you have an audience and you're thinking about selling some fitness offer or relationships offer, whatever it might be. Put out a tweet and tell people, hey, look, I have a cohort. I'm only going to take on a couple people, and you could say this is either cheap or free or whatever. And that essentially DM me if you're interested, and just do that and get a few people in there, get them results, get some kind of testimonial, and let them know that that's the expectation up front. And if you can do that, then you can charge money. Okay, so it is that simple. And if you don't get a result, then just do it until you can. Now, some people listening to this, you may not have to do this, and that's perfectly fine. If not, then awesome. You already have something going, cool. You won't have to do this. But, I've seen this quite a few times. Like a fitness guy I knew wasn't confident that he could do this. He wasn't confident that he could sell for thousands of dollars. And what he did is he helped a few clients get results for a few months, got them noticeable differences in their bodies, took some after pictures, before and after. And basically, he asked them, if they were happy and how much this would be worth and all that, and what they'd pay for it. And they told him either a few hundred or a few $1,000s or whatever. And that gave him the confidence that he needed shortly after to get coaching sales, where he's charging $1,000 a month for people. So that's often how it works. Excuse me. So another thing is people think it takes too much time. And there's really no way of avoiding that it takes some time to monetize, to at least set it up. With coaching offers, it doesn't really take as much time as some think. So Devin, who did a 21K launch for his coaching, he said it only took 20 hours over the course of about 3 weeks, right? And then delivery for coaching, and this at the time was one-on-one, only took him 2 to 4 hours a month for a client one-on-one, because usually you spend maybe an hour or two with them up front, and then check-ins are maybe 30 minutes with a lot of coaching offers, even one-on-one. So, and if it's a group coaching offer, then you can bang it out in just a few hours a week. And it's a really beautiful thing when you have it working like this. So this is way better than your average 9-to-5er who works 160 hours a month or more. and works for way less money. I was in healthcare all of my 20s. I worked as an RN, and I made 40 hours an hour, and that was considered relatively good. But now, I make hundreds of dollars an hour, and so do my clients. So that's the beauty of it, right? Anyway, so yeah, down the road with some experience. Yeah, well, actually, I don't even know what that means. What I wrote at the back there, or the bottom there, but whatever. So yeah, that's the gist here. Okay, so now we're going to talk about offers. So maybe you've heard this before, but offers are essentially the biggest key to being successful in your business. I would say it's probably the number one. And offers have always been important with business. In the last year or so, the book $100 Million Offers has essentially made people offer fanatics, or whatever you want to say. So yeah, so more people are talking about them and how to make them. So anyway, we're not going to get into all of the how-to, but I want to show you a lot of different examples and all that, and what the similarities, what makes them good, all that stuff. So you have several different options here. If you want, you can get the book $100 Million Offers. It's less than $1. It's an excellent book. There are other CPP lessons as well I'm aware of that will teach you about offers. And if you want one-on-one help from someone who's been doing this for a while and has made quite a few of these awesome offers, you can hit me up personally. And that's the easiest way to do it. So we'll get to that at the end. So now I want to talk about different offers you can make, followed by, after this, we'll talk about which the best ones are. So ebooks, a lot of people sell ebooks. I'm not a fan unless you're using them to get leads for something high ticket. So in other words, someone buys the ebook and then they get pitched on a high ticket coaching offer. So yeah, so ebooks, info products like courses, templates, etc. Those can be good for sure. Membership sites, Wiz of Ecom's Utopia, obviously Joe Hart's Products for Profit. Very good examples there. Paid email list, Substack. So one of my clients, Jake Nomada, is doing extremely well with a paid Substack. It's doing thousands of dollars a month, and we're going to be using that to upsell to higher ticket offers and whatnot. Group challenges, so like a fitness challenge where you have something, within 60 days, the winner gets a prize or something. But you can also do it with business, create, like Russell Brunson has an offer that's like create a funnel within 30 days, something like that. And at the end, he upsells you to something bigger. So group coaching, my program, List Money Multiplier, it's a group coaching. It's actually kind of a hybrid. We'll talk about that soon, but I'd say at its core, it's a group coaching course offer. One-on-one coaching, really, there's a million of them, so just pick whatever you can find as an example there. Done for you offers, like copywriting, writing someone's emails, making someone's ads. There's a million of those. Hybrid offers, so again, like my program, I said it's a group coaching, I listed it there, but it's actually a course as well. It has a strong course element. Most of it's group coaching, but there's also a one-on-one call for people coming in and stuff like that. So it's kind of a hybrid in that way. So also partnerships with revenue share. This is something that I do with either large brands or people who I know I can make a lot of money. Not even just like a good amount of money, but like a lot of money. I'll work with them one-on-one. So that's another thing you can do, partnerships, and it doesn't even need to be business. B2B. It could be like, you're pairing up with somebody and you're both doing like a group coaching fitness offer or something. Physical products, I don't specialize in those. Please don't ask me. Even though I did very well with e-com in the past, I don't really do physical products anymore. So when it comes to audience monetization, I don't like them unless you have a lot of followers. Affiliate deals, you can get some good ones, courses, coaching programs, and whatnot. And there's really a lot of different things. Some people sell engagement groups or retweet stuff like that, and it's perfectly fine if you want to do that. It's a solution. It's certainly an option if you have a big account. Okay, so of all of these, like I said, the most efficient and fastest way to hit the target is a high-ticket one-to-many coaching offer for coaches. And if you do B2B, then a done-for-you service where you eventually hire out if you're trying to hit the time frame that I'm talking about. And if you don't want to hit that time frame, no problem. It's just how I would do it if you do want to hit it. Or very high ticket one-on-one, or like I said, a community for certain niches like make money. I've seen people charge hundreds of dollars per month to be in a paid community to make more money. So anyway, I typically create high ticket coaching offers with my clients, and we go for group coaching as well. We structure it in that format to make it as efficient as possible. So you're only spending a couple hours a week to deliver an offer that you can charge thousands of dollars for. That's the idea there. So anyway, so why is it so effective? It is the needle mover. So even if you only have 2,000 followers and you have a good offer and you get a good market, and you sell 2 people a month at 5K, you made 10K, right? And you're only going to grow from there. Another thing is you'll get market research and you hone in on your methodology. So in other words, when you're coaching people, you actually get to see what their struggles are and you can improve on the spot. And especially if you're productizing it, so you're making it a course, you'll make a better course if you have a coaching program first. So another reason is, again, it's leverage to deliver to as many people as you can at once. And again, you can productize that knowledge. And so if you do a course first, generally speaking, it's less refined. You're probably going to charge less money because, courses are usually sold for anywhere between maybe $50 to $1,000 is typical. You can charge more, yeah, but without a coaching element, it's usually harder to charge thousands of dollars. If you at least add some coaching, some kind of access to you, you can then call it a coaching program and charge $5,000 or whatever, depending on what you're doing. So, So again, courses for more time to make money up front, and there's always exceptions. I'm not saying it never works. Cold Email Wizards is very good example. I know he did very well with his course. Art of Purpose did very well with his. But generally speaking, I would not create a course first. Now, here are some offers, very good offers, and what they look like. So, Nate's Infinite Banking Program. And basically, you're going to have more money with it than without it. So, it's very high ticket, but it's essentially like you put money into it that you'll get back. It's not like you just buy something and hope for the best. You actually have the ability to take that money out and all that. And you essentially, it does a bunch of different things, but essentially uses whole life insurance to essentially almost create your own bank account where you can get interest on a bunch of different things and actually avoid paying off interest payments for certain things. And if you're in debt, you can pay off that debt considerably quicker. So once you know how it works, it's just kind of a no-brainer offer. And then he gets 40% commission on these big sales, which could be like 50K. So he does very well. And he only has to do a little bit of follow-up support and all that. So Joe Hart, again, Products to Profit. Last I checked, it was $99 a month, but maybe it's a little bit cheaper now, actually. Maybe it was a little cheaper last time I checked. But whatever. He makes good money from it, and it doesn't take him a ton of time. And it's steady income. So this is particularly good if you are in the B2B niche somehow. Teach people how to make money with a legitimate method. It's a very good option. Create, Publish, Profit. I've already said good things, and you've already been through the program. So very high quality information, and it's just, I say it's loaded beyond courses. It's really like a group coaching program, but whatever. It's very good. Very, very good. Default Kings. So these are 2 former clients of mine that you've probably seen on Twitter. Jack Bly and Gabe. I don't even know how to say Gabe's last name. But anyway, this is a cool one. It's a group coaching. They hire coaches. They have 3 calls a week, I think. And I think they only have to attend 1. But, they have different subjects, and people come in and they get onboarded, I think, through a one-on-one call. and then they join the group calls. So it's always open, no matter when someone joined. It's not like, okay, week 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, whatever. It's always open and it's efficient. So it's delivering. It's doing a very good job delivering to everybody very efficiently, which means that even if you hire someone out, or if you hire to have someone deliver for you, as long as it's being delivered efficiently, you can afford to pay that person less than if he was paying, or than if he was doing one-on-one. So it's another reason you want to do group coaching. All right, so here's the keys to an amazing offer in a nutshell. This is just like a general overview. So if you check off these boxes, you have an awesome offer. And again, we're not going into the how-to in this particular lesson. I've already given you some resources, but I did want to cover this. So one key is that the value of the problem solved is many times over the cost of the prospect. So if someone can't get laid, what's that worth to them, right? Men will spend a lot of money in their lives and a lot of time and a lot of effort to get better with women or to impress women or whatever. Whether it's fitness or buying expensive things or really whatever. So if you can solve that and prove to them that you can solve that for $5K, you just have to show them that, look, we're solving a problem you're going to spend a lot more money than this on, and we're solving it for only $5K, and it looks like a deal by comparison. And that is assuming that they have the money, right, and the need. So a good offer, a great offer that is, focuses on getting awesome results. So results really matter, and it's essentially the biggest thing to work on is just getting amazing results. Saving time. So in other words, they can get the result faster, and you want to save effort and sacrifice on their end. So as much as possible, the less sacrifices they have to make, the better. The higher the success rate, the better, and they have to believe that their chances of success are very high. So an offer will handle all major objections, sticking points, and problems the person may have. Best way to do this, the $100 million offer method is very complex. Not complex, but it's very time consuming, and it teaches you how to do this. But I do this with my clients as well. I have a faster way of doing this, but it's just basically, we just want to know what their problems are, and we want to think of the most cost-effective and efficient way to solve those problems. And when you do that, you can actually resolve a lot of major objections that people would have to even using your offer. So anyway, effectively delivered, again, high chance of success. I kind of repeated that, but unnecessary time is not wasted, and it's very efficient. So in other words, one to many. Unique mechanism. So this is when there's like a whole bunch of different things out there. The market has a whole bunch of stuff, and you have like something in your offer that gives them a result that other people are not giving. So if you have a whole bunch of different Spanish programs on how to learn Spanish, and you help them learn how to be competent on a date in 14 days, then that would be a unique mechanism, right? That also plays into being a class in by itself. So another, again, delivered as fast time frame as possible without cutting corners, kind of said that already. And awesome bonuses and guarantees. If bonuses can really impress people, then that's awesome. Guarantee, the main thing about the guarantee is just make them confident that if they don't get the result, then they're going to be fine, okay? Just understand that even if you have awesome bonuses in there, and even if you have a guarantee that's like, excuse me, even if you have a guarantee that's killer, the most important thing is the results, all right? So that's always number one. All right, so here's our summary on how to do this in under 5 to 10 hours a week. And again, one-to-many high-ticket offer, most common. We've already kind of covered that, so I'll talk a little bit more about optimization of it. Automated sales sequence and efficient content plan. We'll go into this now. So optimizing the offer. So when I work with clients, what we do is we don't just sell the offer and just say, hey, cool, you got some sales. I actually help them deliver the offer in the best, most efficient way possible and to actually get the best results possible. Because when you do that, you actually have something that's a very good product, right? You have to have something that's going to be good in the long run. So what we do is during and after their first cohort of the first sales, we figure out how to essentially make it as time efficient as possible, and we look at what's going well and what's going wrong, and we fix what's going wrong, and we optimize what's going well. So basically, long story short, we make an offer that's efficient in terms of time and getting amazing results. Anyway, so again, usually we do a group coaching setup, but if it's a B2B offer, then we look at how to hire and all that stuff. So anyway, everybody has different needs, but we go based off of those. So next is the automated sales machine part 1, which is just a lead magnet. So Jake here is saying, hey, look, you want to get started in high-ticket e-com. Excuse me. If you want to get started in high-ticket e-com, here's my niche list, right? So this is a big deal for a lot of people. They're not sure what to start with, what niche to do. So here's the list. Anyway, so this gets people in step 1. And then what we do, we hit them with a bunch of emails. So what we do here is we hit the main things, right? So we want to know, we want them to know what you do, what's your background story. It's usually before and after story. You know how marketers are just obsessed with stories. There's a reason for it. I mean, they work. People just connect with stories. So you want to talk about why you're different, better than competition, what mistakes your ideal clients make, what are the costs of those mistakes. So I like to solve big problems, and that we want them to understand what's the cost of not solving this problem, right? Someone comes to me with a business where they could be making 5 figures a month from, and they're not making that. Well, after a year, if they don't have that business, then it's $100,000 that they didn't make, right? I want people to understand that. And if it's with fitness, we say it differently. If it's relationships, we say it differently, but usually we spell that out with different stories of other people who had problems similar to them. So anyway, why other solutions haven't worked for them, what's life like after they go through your offer, paint that image of the transformation. Case studies, testimonials backing up everything, and then solving major objections before they come up. So this is specifically done with case studies, testimonials. We just want to identify what objections people usually have, and we solve them with stories for the most part. Now, next piece of this is an efficient content strategy. And this, again, it varies depending on the person and the goals, but think of what you're learning in CPP. Now, if you're learning in CPP how to grow on Twitter, even now, so maybe it takes you 10 hours a week now, but what takes you 10 hours a week now will probably take you 3 to 5 after doing it a little while, right? So, we just figured out what's the best content strategy and how can we do this as efficiently as possible. So, common one would be 2 threads a week, turn those into 2 emails. And maybe those emails are slightly more in depth so people have a reason to read both. And 3 to 5 tweets a day. I mean, that for most people, it takes maybe 3-4 hours a week, tops. So, that's how we do that. And look, you can add whatever you want on top of that. This is just like the basics, right? So if you want to add podcasts, or you want to do some videos, or you want to do one of those things where it's like the like and retweet thing that you've probably seen on Twitter. Like you make a little, essentially a lead magnet or an asset, and it's like, hey, you want this, then comment LFG or whatever. To get this, right? People do that a lot, so you can always do that on top. It's up to you. But this is the basics, and we want to make sure that we're hitting these. Okay, so these are other ways to further reduce time and oftentimes make even more money. So ghostwriters, if someone does all of your content for you, then guess what? You don't have to spend time doing that. And oftentimes they're very good. It depends on who it is, but oftentimes they grow your following more than you grow on your own, and you can actually make more money because you have a bigger following. Closers, so these are people who would take the calls for you, and they'll get a percentage of the call. Oftentimes, they'll have a closing rate higher than you'll get simply because they've been doing it longer. Webinar. So you could have a webinar where you just tell people, hey, look, I got this event and it's coming up, and here we go. Another thing that people do actually with webinars can be insanely good, and it's something that we're really starting to explore more with my business, is because with webinars, if you have a really good presentation, you can actually make like a shit ton of money every single week if you're running ads, which we're not going to talk about here. But if you are running ads and you're doing a very good job, everything's on point. I know people who are making $100K a week with webinars. It's insane because they just get like all this traffic to sign up for a live presentation, and the presentation is so well done that they just close a whole bunch of people. And if they just know I'll close 10% or whatever, then they know, I'm going to make this much money today. It's pretty crazy. So productizing, that would be just if you have your coaching program or whatever it may be, and you just turn it into a product as like a course. I've already talked about this. Another is hiring coaches to deliver. And another is a setter or cold DMer, which is someone who's going to go out and essentially get you sales calls. And this is something that we're also starting to really work on, and we really want to emphasize more coming up. Andy, who isn't in my program anymore, but he is a former client, and he's actually a coach now. He's actually the sales coach in my program. He's using one, and he's doing extremely well. So you can see, like, if you had a ghostwriter and you had maybe a live webinar and you had people delivering your product for you, I mean, that could be just a few hours a week total of your time. So this can reduce it even further if you just use these options. And some of them cost money, some of them don't. But if you have something working, and you can afford, at that point, if you have something working, you can afford to sacrifice a little bit of margins to spend even less time. And, this might not even be your goal, and that's perfectly fine. This is just an option for you. These are just options for you if that's your goal. I just want it to be as time efficient for you as possible, so that way you can decide for yourself what you want to do. All right, so what does this look like for our winners? I kind of talked about these guys already, most of them. I got plenty of examples. These are just a few more. Jake, 3,000 followers, 52K in 3.5 months. I already talked about Kobe, Joe, Chris. I already talked about Andy as well. So whatever. Actually, the real point here, that's right. The real point that I want to make here is that it doesn't take them a lot of time. So Jake, he's still doing one-on-one coaching, because when he was in my program, I didn't emphasize group coaching as much. So he's still doing one-on-one, but he's not spending more than a few hours a month with these clients. So he's still doing it under 10 hours a week. Kobe, same deal. He's got a group coaching offer, so it's only a couple hours a week. He takes one call a week, and then he just answers people's questions. That's it. So he has like a Discord channel, I think, and he just answers questions throughout the week until the call. Joe Hart, we talked about him. Chris and Brett, so what they did was Chris and Brett were telling me, essentially, because they're doing a fitness offer, they said they'll never go back. Actually, they said that they didn't want to go back to one-on-one because group coaching is just so much better. People are more motivated. It really does... excuse me, it does a lot of the accountability for them because it's a group and they don't want to fail the group. Andy, he's still on one-on-one, but again, he's not spending a shit ton of time with each client, and he's doing well. So yeah. So what to do now? All right, this was a longer presentation than I expected, but whatever. So follow me on Telegram. That's where I really post a lot of this stuff. I post a lot of sauce in there. Another thing is to follow me on Twitter on my newer account, which is list_multiplier. You can follow my main account too, Western Mastery. It's just more general. It's not really about this stuff. I'll be in the Discord as well. So this is the January version. So just in case, I don't know, whatever. I'm trying to make this video stand the test of time here. But I will be in the Discord for at least the January version. Hopefully, whatever version comes after that, whatever. But I'll definitely be in there for the January version at least, and I'll ask. Well, you can ask questions about this lesson, provided that I'm not totally swamped. So I don't know how it's going to look yet, but I'm glad to answer your questions about monetization. I'm glad to look at your situation and give you a strong idea of what you can sell if you're not sure, or any other questions you might have. Because a lot of people, the number one question that I get is, what can I sell? And I always want people to understand that you have different options depending on what you want, or what you're best at, or whatever. So I'm glad to give you some different ideas and go from there. Excuse me. Okay, so some homework to do. So authority. You don't have clients yet? Get known for something useful. Build social proof. Show off your results and those of who you have coached. Okay? If you don't have those results, then take people for free and get results. Okay? So I don't really care like where you are in the game. Authority is always important. You should always demonstrate authority. You should always show results. I do it constantly because it is that important. Next thing is offer research creation. So you should understand what other people are selling in your niche. Know what they're doing well. Look up social proof. What people are saying. Make your own offer similar to the offer structure, but with your own methods. Now, I say make your own, but what I really mean is like get an idea of what you can make. Do not copy, material. We're not copying words or anything like that. Just get an idea of what the offer structure looks like, and you can get an idea of what you can do just with your own angle and all that. Excuse me. So another thing is directly reach out to me for more help. Excuse me. I had a I was pretty sick not long ago. That's why I keep coughing. But anyway, so the Discord, Telegram, Twitter, whatever you want to do, reach out, and that's it. And I look forward to talking to you soon.